who wouldn't fall in love with Kim? I don't care what anyone would ever say. Oh, fuck the Kardashians. I don't give a fuck. Kim comes up to you tomorrow, says, hey, I think you're cute. Every single guy is saying, yes, please, here's my number. Like, no one would reject her. So it's like, no one would reject Kim.
Look, I think most people won't. I still think there's a small percentage that will, who don't want that attention.
Chemical X.
You're the teacher, so you start.
Oh my God.
You're wearing the glasses, so I don't want to start. I feel like I'm intimidated.
What's up, guys? I'm Veronica. Welcome back to the Chemical X podcast.
And I'm Alessia. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, buy our merch on our website, do all of that, and then we're besties.
Yeah. So it's my first time wearing glasses on this podcast. By the way, spoiler alert, they're fake. I don't actually need glasses.
Spoiler alert, everyone knows.
Yeah.
But you know what? Because they have that kind of reflection, and when you see that reflection, you go blue light, like which fuck
doesn't do shit.
That
guys. Doesn't do fucking shit. Doesn't do shit. Just like these glasses don't do shit for my eyesight. If anything, they make them worse.
You know
honestly.
what? You look smarter. You feel smarter.
I heard that if you wear glasses as a waitress, you make more tips.
I get that.
Because, like, I think guys are attracted to
guys
that,
are just like, ooh, slutty nerds.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do to me later?
Everyone's like, bro, take the glasses off. It's not going to work on me. But, like, I kind of see, like, the appeal. That's why I love, first of all, I love wearing glasses. I find I always wear these glasses when I wear no makeup. Because for some reason, I find when you have glasses on, it's like, you have something.
You
like,
absolutely
I don't see that you have no makeup as much as if you have no makeup.
1000%.
Like, it's a hack. Like, these bitches who have to wear glasses every day, like, I see you. It's not the same as us no makeup
But when
bitches.
you're so used to somebody who always wears glasses and they take it off, you're like,
that's no makeup.
That's no makeup.
That's no eyes. You actually go, my God, that's what you look like.
That's like, fucking
It's like,
put those glasses back on.
I don't know you anymore. Like, it makes you think there's something wrong with their face. Like,
it's kind of like when braces come off or anything that's like you're so used to.
You're like, whoa.
Yeah. Speaking of whoa, have you watched the whole feud that's going on with Georgia and Harry Jowsey?
Yeah. I feel like he's always had drama surrounding him since like his rise.
But I feel like he's
to
wanted
fame.
that.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not surprised that there's another story in the media. But I am a bit, like, I was a bit like taken aback because I feel like it's been a while since they've broken up. So I was just like, where's this story coming from? Like, why is it just coming out of nowhere?
I think it's because they broke up, got back together, broke up, and like he'll always. Because he was dragging her name through the mud still afterwards. He went on the Call Her Daddy podcast and he said that she cheated on him. And even when he said that, when I was listening to the podcast and like he was saying that, I was like, there's no fucking way.
Yeah.
There's no way. Especially with the type of character he has. Like, there's no way like you're going to go on a girl's podcast and try to manipulate the situation.
Absolutely.
There's no way.
So basically what happened is he's been saying certain things. Then he went on Call Her Daddy, spoke shit about her, said she cheated on him. And then she kind of came on TikTok and did like a whole 3-part like series.
You know the classic when somebody just
they set up the camera and they speak their truth.
But like, you know what? I get her point of like, I didn't want to do it, but I have no choice. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's so cringe, these things. But when someone, just picture being yourself, like somebody's literally dragging your name through the mud and saying things that never happened. Like, you almost feel like you have to.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, no, you want to take the high road of Kim Kardashian where she's like, I have all the receipts, but I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah.
But when you're being told things that are lies, like, you have no choice.
It's really hard. And like, you're being accused of something that like attacks your character. And like, and it, especially when it's not true. Honestly, I know it's so easy for people to say like, oh, like you're just becoming a part of it by like even answering back. And like, you know, you should never like address when people are like doing these things for you or you're just a part of the drama. But like, no, I think if somebody and like the whole world was so publicly against you and shaming you for certain things and like attacking you for being a cheater, like at some point you want to clear, like it just makes sense to want to clear your name. And it sucks because in turn it almost like makes you be a part of it too. And now it's like she went on Sophia with an F's podcast, and like these are all things that are gonna keep the ball of drama rolling.
Yeah,
but I also get,
but like, what a slay podcast to go on though. If you had to choose one to go on,
if you went on Call Her Daddy, let me go on the Nemesis.
like crazy.
You know?
Just brilliant.
But I don't know. I think like she's really well spoken.
Yeah,
and
very
she really
well spoken.
I think that's the tough thing too. She could be fucking in the wrong all you want. When you talk like that, baby girl, I will believe anything you're saying.
But you know what the thing is? She still chose the high road. Like she
Yeah.
was like, I admit where I went wrong. And then she was saying, I wish him nothing but like help.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So did you ever hear that if you wear a ring on your ring finger, it's supposed to be like bad luck?
This I have heard. Yes.
I feel like it might be like an Italian superstition. It might be
Yeah.
but it might be like overall, because I've had a lot of people telling me like, you know, if you wear a ring on your ring finger, like it means like you're never gonna get married. And I was like,
Let me just switch that ring off real quick.
I was like, that's not true. But I'm still like, imagine. Like, guys, if I don't end up married, it's because of this motherfucking ring.
No.
Like, I'll be fucking pissed.
But you know what though? Like, fuck off. It's literally our prettiest finger. I don't care what anyone says.
It is the prettiest finger.
That's why.
And if you're gonna wear like a bunch of rings, what do you think? I'm just gonna skip that finger? Like, absolutely not. But anyways, on that note, guys, I don't know if you agree with me or not, if you're allowed to wear rings, but I love to wear rings on this finger, and I also love to stack rings. And I get all my rings from Every Jewels because affordable, they look great, you can wear them on water and stack them up.
Yes. And by going on their website, everyjewels.com, you'll be able to use our discount code ChemicalX at checkout to receive 20% off so you can stack away.
I think a lot of the times everyone gives their opinion, but I don't think anybody realizes what it's like to have that level of attention, that level of like eyes on your life, of like commentary on your life. And she was basically expressing how like every day she'd wake up and like throw up from anxiety and like be crying, wouldn't want to leave her house. And it's like, for some people, they're probably thinking K-dramatic, but it's like, put yourself in her shoes.
First of all,
like,
already going through a breakup when someone is like your best friend and your everything, she's living with him to no contact. Already that alone is like, for a lot of people, very, very hard to deal with.
Yeah.
So when you add on everyone's opinion, oh my God, no kidding, she's throwing up.
Absolutely. But this was also while they were dating, because basically what had happened is when they first started dating, he went on a podcast and said that he slept with her on the first night, that they hooked up on the first night they met, which would have implied that she had cheated on her boyfriend at the time. But that's
even
not
at that,
what
she was
happened.
not even with him at the time. The other guy was even
But they didn't even hook up the first time that they met. So it like literally wasn't true.
But you know what's funny is she went on Nick Vile's podcast and he was like, but why would Harry say that if it wasn't actually true? He was like, Harry Jowsey should take accountability for that. And you see at that moment, she's kind of like, no, like, you know, it's not for him to, like, she's still, you could tell she's tried. And he was like, you know, when you're just like, my partner's not going to do it and I don't want to go against him. So I'm just going to like take the blame on something that he's not going to admit to, which is like fucked up. Because if you love somebody, you should want to like be like, no, you know what? Like my girl was right. Like,
yeah,
it's beyond media at that point. It's like, do you actually care and love for this person?
Yeah.
Like that's when I think media fucks with your head. You forget what's reality and what
hurts someone.
Yeah.
And like, that's the thing too, is when she was like originally like begging him to like come clean and be like, that's not true. He was just like, this is who I am. Like, you know that this is what I do for a living. And like, if you're not okay with it, like get the fuck out. And that to me is just like, as two people who we sit here and we talk about our lives, and like I'm very open with people, like, just so you know, like this is what I do, and like this is the things I have to do, and like it's we come clean about it at the beginning. I still would never do something like that and then be like, well, you should have known that this is what you were signing up for. You know what I mean? Like there's a difference between telling my truth and saying my story versus spreading lies and it really hurting someone and then me not doing anything about it. You know what I mean? And being like, well, you should have known. Like, that's just fucked up.
I just think, like, can we all stop giving him a platform, though? I think with these people, it's like, you can't, like, okay, he's going to keep trying to do these things. And it's like, if we keep allowing everyone to, like, kind of give him the satisfaction he wants.
Yeah.
Then, like, he's going to keep doing it. He almost has to, like, lose everything and, like, lose every gig and, like, just take a minute to be like, what the fuck am I doing, you know?
And then what? He's going to come around with his apology because now he lost everything. But that's the thing. It's like,
know.
There's no winning because, look, now we're talking about it because Georgia went on and talked about it. So now we're talking about it. We're keeping the story alive. Everybody's keeping the story alive. So it's like, you're doomed if you do, you're doomed if you don't. She goes on, she backs up her own name, she clears out her own name, and she's continuing the drama, and she's only gonna get it worse.
Yeah, but wouldn't you rather do that?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying it's like either way there's a consequence, and that's what sucks. And the thing is, people are always still gonna support him. They're always gonna still like back him up. And one thing about Harry that he did do like well in its regard is like he was able to, I think we spoke about this on an episode.
Yeah, he kept his name alive after Too Hot to Handle, while everyone else kind of just like fizzled out.
Exactly. But I feel like is a very strategic person, and he did strategic things in order to keep his name alive. And I think one of those things
came at the cost of people.
Yeah, it came at the cost of hurting Georgia. And like even all the things that I would see him post, even when they were dating, like he would put these TikToks of like me and my ex and like stuff. And I was just like, he would like write these things like missing my ex, when it's just like, it's fucked up when you know like the story of like him breaking up with her and kicking her out and all this stuff. It's like all for like who? All for who? Strangers on the internet that you don't even know? Like, I don't know. I just think sometimes people, that's why there's a part of me that is always like, I don't know if I'll ever like be okay being in that like level of like social fame, because it's like there's just certain people that are just not good people, and I find that so sad. Like it's so sad that somebody like can't even like care about another person enough, like, and put their own like pain before like your need for attention.
You know what's weird? I don't think Harry's like not a good person. I feel like he has good qualities. Like you could see he's a very like universe focused person, and he seems like good vibes. And I don't think it's tough because like obviously this is one version we're seeing, but like if we try and understand like why he's doing these things to keep his name alive and to make more money, it doesn't make it right. But I'm not saying I understand, but some people just either take the road of like, I'm going to go the long way to get to where I want, and other people are just not going to care and fuck over whoever they have to fuck over to get to the top. And it's like, it makes you a bad person. But I think overall, like, it's just, I don't know. I can't speak because I don't know him, but like, do you really believe that like there's bad people? Like, I think there's a good part of him too.
I think just because there's a good part of someone doesn't always outweigh like the bad things.
Yeah.
So I think that like, yeah, I don't think that everyone's like 100% bad, but I think people could be like have bad intentions, and that's enough to make you a bad person, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think sometimes like we can look at the good in people, but like I think a lot of times we do that. Like I'm sure Georgia did that in her relationship.
Of course.
Of looking at the good and looking at why and justifying. But at the end of the day, like people do heartless, shitty things, and like they can be like held accountable for those shitty things that they're doing.
Like even with Jonah Hill, it's like, it's just, I understand completely why somebody would come clean, and I would do the exact same thing. But I think you should never, like, even when I was in my relationship and I knew all the toxic things that were happening, I in some way blamed myself because I knew I was allowing those things to happen. And I know sometimes people are manipulated to the point of like, they didn't know, they were gaslighted. But like at some point you do know though.
Yeah.
No? Mm-hmm. It doesn't make it right. I'm just saying like,
I think
you broke up, you got back, you went back. Like at some point, like you fueled the guy who shouldn't have been fueled.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he's in the right at all. I'm just saying like everyone plays a part.
Yeah. I think that there's accountability in any situation on all parts. Like there's always, you know, letting something slide or dealing with something for too long. And it doesn't make it like any less bad what that person did. It's just like there's also a lot of times that you stand for shit that you wouldn't stand for. And she even says, you know, like I believed the best in him, and like I always made excuses for him, and you know, this is how he was raised and yada yada, which so many people do. You know, we make excuses for the people we love. And like that's on us at the end of the day for staying around too long. But
then again, nobody's perfect. So it's like, choose your hard too. It's like everyone is going to fuck up. Everyone's going to have something.
Yeah.
So
I think for me, it's more these relationships that like you're going on a dating show. Okay. Like Too Hot to Handle, first of all. But any dating show. You're going on a dating show. You know already what, in a way, you're signing up for. You know that probably the relationship you're going to get is likely not going to be real. You know that everyone's going in there for some part of it is going to be for clout. Because, yeah, sure, you're on a date or whatever, but there's always going to be, like, that deeper, like, little want of like clout and fame that's gonna come along with it. So you guys are all going in there with that same kind of similarity of wanting attention.
But I don't think that they like still sign up for it. I think you always think when you're going on, I'm not gonna be the person that's gonna have the drama that's gonna come out of it and be like the talk of the town. Like I don't think anyone knows that that's gonna happen. But unless you're strategic and you're planning it, which is somebody like Harry. But I don't think Georgia went in there like, I'm going to have this scandal about me.
I don't think she went in there saying, I'm going to have this scandal. I just think you go on a dating show, you know that there is going to be a certain type of attention that's going to come with it, which means you're looking for that certain type of attention. So all those people are all looking for that same kind of attention. And so when it happens and you're surrounded by a bunch of people that are fueled by attention and they're going to continue doing things for attention, there's a part of me that's like, okay, but you knew that this was going to happen in some way because you're not going there for like really a genuine relationship.
But just because you know something's going to happen doesn't make it easier to cope with.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
100%.
Yeah.
I just think like I find it funny when people make all these videos and this, but drama this and drama that. And he said this about me. And I'm like, yeah, it's fucked up. But also, what did you expect from a bunch of people that are making life decisions based on attention? I can tell you that
100%.
That will continue to happen because their life is based on attention. Their fame, their money is all based on attention. So
I think
it's going to keep happening.
I think the best way to do it is if you want to go on a dating show, go on the fucking dating show. Be nuts. Yes, pretend you're in love. Do the whole shebang. Get your fame. And then get out of there and go date the most private person that can ever walk this planet. And you are so good.
Yeah, but is that private person going to want you?
I mean, if you keep your relationship private, it could work. Like, I think sometimes like a private person, it depends. It really depends. But I think if you go date somebody like the total opposite, if Georgia were to go date somebody the total opposite that was like in finance or like just somebody who's like, wow, she looks like Margot Robbie. She's stunning. Perfect. Like, she'll probably keep her relationship out of the limelight this time. Yeah. And she'll have a way better relationship. I think anybody who keeps their fucking relationship out of the public eye, if you look at like Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, beautiful. Yeah. Mila Kunis and what's his name?
Aren't they divorced?
No, Mila Kunis is with Ashton Kutcher.
Aren't they divorced?
No. Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher. Like all these relationships, I feel like where they don't share and they don't like add to the media, always have the best relationships, I feel.
Yeah. But they're also, that's the thing that I wanted to say though. It's so tricky when you have, like, let's say somebody who's famous, okay? Or like
you're like almost choosing fame over your partner while you're with your partner. So it's like when you're choosing to be with a person who's not in it for fame, I feel like it's just a recipe for a more successful relationship. Yeah.
But also, like, a lot of the times, people who are famous end up with other people who are famous because so many reasons. But also, it's very difficult to even be with somebody who's famous when you're not, because it's just wildly different worlds. You can't understand each other. There's like a big barrier there.
But it's not fame to the level of like she can't go do her own thing now.
No,
you know?
I know.
It's not like you're fucking Kim Kardashian or a celebrity like Leonardo DiCaprio.
But it's like that private person who, you know, values their privacy and all this isn't gonna want to go date that person with all the attention, because they're gonna be like, I'm not looking for that. You know what I mean? And that's why I think a lot of the times people that are in the limelight, like, you know, tend to attract other people that are in the limelight, or they attract people that are not in the limelight that want to be in the limelight. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's so tricky. And that's why I find it's like, it must be so difficult dating when you have like a presence in the media and stuff, because it's just like your options are so far and few. And then like when you do find someone that's a little more reserved, it's like, okay, but are you with me because you want to be with me, or is it because of the attention and whatever it's gonna bring you, or do you not want to be with me because of those things? You know,
someone who wanted to be on a dating show, I feel like now I see a whole different light to it. I'm like, I don't want this.
And I get that, because it's just like, once you become that, it's very difficult to branch out and like actually find a genuine relationship after. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I feel like it puts you in this category. And even
but
just
it also depends what you do after the show. If you decide to like every fucking person who goes on a dating reality show, what's the first thing they do after they finish? They go to LA and they start hanging out with all the people that are intertwined in the limelight. So it's like, you're putting yourself there. But if you go on the show and you just disappear after, you can kind of recall your name again.
But then it's like, what was the point of going on the show then?
To fall in love, Veronica.
But does anyone go on a reality TV show to fall in love?
No. I think it's a bonus if you go there and fall in love.
Yeah, definitely. I just think it's a very interesting
because of the world we live in too, right?
That's what I was gonna say. I think right now it's so interesting dating with social media, even just like not even famous, but just like social media present, social media influencers. Like it's so tricky because we want to say, oh yeah, have a relationship that's not in the limelight, but then it's like, but how do you have that when your whole life is on blast? Like it's like even these people, for example, like the two, like Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, Mila Kunis. I find it's easier as an actress to have that separation because you're really just in movies acting versus people that are influencers, their fame is based on their real life. Yeah. So it's like you don't have a choice, It's much easier to have that separation when you already have that separation in your job. But when it's like, like all these people like Kylie, Kendall, social media influencers, like reality TV stars, your life is what's making you famous. So you have no choice. That's what people want to know. They want to know your relationships. Like there is no choice but to be public about it, and that's what's fucking crazy.
I feel like it's almost like a vicious circle of like people who are in the influencer world try so hard to get to that level of like fame where it's like people care about them, and then once they get there, they get to a stage of like, okay, now I want the total. Now I don't want to be known for it. I worked so hard to get to the point where everyone cared about me, and now that everybody cares about me, I'm like, how do I reverse this and like find myself a solid foundation, a solid relationship, and be out of this junkyard?
Absolutely, because I think like we want that attention that we see other people getting, but then we realize everything that comes along with it, and it's like, I don't want this anymore. Especially when it comes to like most people nowadays are getting famous off of social media, which means, like I said, you're famous for your life. People are very invested in your life, so you have no privacy, So it's like by the time you get famous, too many people know too many things about you, and it's not as just like, oh, I'm famous. It's like, no, everyone is involved in my life, and that's like a big thing to deal with, And it's like, how do you meet people after? I find it so difficult I can imagine even I would be like concerned about meeting someone because it's like, are you going to understand my life? Am I going to have to meet someone who's also in the industry so that it's like you understand me? Or is someone who's outside of it, some like no-name guy, is he even going to want me? You know what I mean? Because it's like, I'm that in the limelight person. Like the private people don't tend to want that, Mm-hmm. I don't know. I find it such like...
I went on a date about a month ago, and the guy I went on a date with, he was telling me a story which was so like irrelevant, and he really didn't have to bring it up, but he brought it up, of one of the contestants of Love Island. Like he ended up going on a trip with her, and like they took a picture together and it leaked. I was like, whoa. Let's discuss this. Cause he was going on. I'm like, wait, hold on. Who took the picture? He goes, a friend. I'm like, friend of the girl or friend of one of your friends, the guy?
Yeah.
He goes, he thinks about it for a second. He goes, one of my friends. And I was like, okay. And like, how did the picture get leaked? Yeah. I'm like, don't start going over the story. Yeah. I'm like, if the picture would have gone viral and would have made you famous, like would you have been okay with it? Like would that be something like you would have tapped into and been like, okay, like here's my 1 minute of fame?
Yeah.
He was like, I'm like, say no more. Because somebody who's private and does not want that, and it's just like, would have just absolutely been like, no, I don't want that. The fact that he had to think about it just like reconfirmed everything. That like, no, if you had the opportunity to get big off something that like was with your partner or somebody you were seeing, you would do it. Mm-hmm. So like, ugh.
But I feel like most people are like that.
What I'm saying is this is somebody who works in like a job you would never think. And I'm like, wow, really? Like, I gotta start rethinking like the people I thought were genuine.
I mean, I think everyone to some extent wants a little bit of like attention.
I don't think there's like the total opposite. I think there's a lot of guys who don't want that for sure, but
it's tricky.
We had Max on the podcast, and he was talking about how apparently you shouldn't bring your manscape in the shower. Like it's better to do it, when you're dry.
Okay.
And like I know we were like absolutely not, but like I'm kind of thinking maybe there is truth behind that.
Well, I've never shaved while being dry. I just feel like that's how you get like razor bumps. Like you're just asking to start a forest fire.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like I need some moisturization going on.
So fucking true.
And also like the hair on the floor.
Maybe it's for hygiene purposes.
I don't know.
And maybe you don't get a razor burn on like that area.
I guess but if you're just trimming, it might be different.
Yeah, exactly. Not, like, I don't fucking know.
Listen, guys.
I don't know the rules. I don't make the rules, but I'll tell you what rule I will be on and keep putting people on, and it's Manscaped, because they have the Lawnmower 4.0.
Just pretty much anything you need to keep yourself fresh, smelling good, trimmed down, because we don't want any scary bushes. You know what I mean? I know that I have a bush right now, but it is the kind that we want because it's a cute little puppy. So unless it's a cute little puppy,
but you brought your dog to get trimmed.
I did. I bring him to get groomed, so you better be getting groomed too. Okay,
that's right.
And guys, head on to Manscaped. Use our discount code
Chemical X at checkout to receive 20% off your entire order and free shipping. If her little puppy's being groomed, you can bet your ass her man is gonna be groomed. But I was just like taken aback when I heard that. I was like, oh my God. I was like, how did the picture leak? Like, it just like the story just didn't make sense, you know? It's not gonna leak on her end. I'm like, on this date with this guy, I'm like, she's way hotter than you. Like, she's not dying for this to leak. So I'm like, something doesn't make sense. Something just doesn't make sense. And you know what's funny? He was like, you know what he said? He was like, I don't know. You watched Love Island? I'm like, yeah. He's like, did you watch the season? I'm like, yeah. Do you know this girl's name? And I was like, actually, if there's one I know and the only one I met who came up to me and complimented me, it's her. So yeah, I know who she is. How weird. Yeah. How weird. The girl I told you about in LA.
Yeah.
The one girl I ever met from Love Island is the one he's talking about. So weird.
But also, like, who brings that up on a date?
I know. Like, what are you trying to prove? Like, you're cool. And then you know what I said? I was like, oh yeah. I'm like, yeah, I know her. And I also met her. She told me I had cool style. He was like, what? I was just telling you had cool style. Oh my God. So like, she agrees too. I'm like, ew. What are you still a fangirl of her?
Yeah.
Like, I can't even get me out of this date. I was like, get me out of this date.
Really, you're still in love with her. Like, what the fuck? But I think it's just weird. Like, when you look at the people and who they date, like, it's like, for example, like Kylie and Timothée Chalamet. Never in my life would I put those two people together. I would never think.
But the only reason we never would think is because I feel like when we see somebody with a certain type of person, like if it's a rapper or like she goes for black guys mostly, when you see her go for a white guy now and like he's the total opposite and like from France, you're like, what the hell?
But I also feel like it's just like, I don't know. I get this. I know that he's not young, but Timothée Chalamet just gives me this like young vibe to him where I'm just like,
how old is he?
How does it? I'm sure he's like for sure like Kylie's age or a little older, but it's just like, how do these two things match up? Like, I just don't see them together.
It's
like,
not only about not seeing it. I just think like when you've done a certain genre of person for so long, you're just like, hey, clearly rappers, it ain't it. Yeah. Let's try an actor.
But that's the thing. When you're especially like so big like Kylie, where do you even meet? But like, how do you meet a guy?
That's the one exception where I feel like it's so hard for her to date because it's like, who would not take the opportunity to just date Kylie?
I don't. That's the thing.
What's scary.
It's like, that's what you were saying.
Do you like me because you like me, or do you like me because of all the movies I'm gonna get now that my name is like fucking everywhere?
And like even someone like Timothée Chalamet, who's famous in his own right, is still gonna be bigger because of Kylie.
1000%.
But I just can't imagine being in like Kylie, Kim, any of their places and trying to date. Everyone's gonna scrutinize, like I just did, who you're with. It's so hard to meet someone. Like, I can imagine like you're just like, is this even genuine? Like, I probably would not even want to date anyone if I'm like that famous. I would just be like, you know what? Like And so many celebrities are single because it's just like, how do you want to date at that level?
I just think it's like, for example, Kim Kardashian, I feel like her next boyfriend is not going to be somebody who's in the limelight. I think he's going to be some fucking rich billionaire that like nobody even really knows of, which is still hard to find, right? Because that rich private billionaire is probably not going to want Kim.
Absolutely not.
You know what I mean? Like, I even think Tom Brady is like, I can't go down that route. Like, that's too fame for me.
I wonder when you're that famous and that rich, do you care for someone who's also rich? Because it's like, okay, like you also don't want to like kind of take someone in. But then again, I feel like when you have so much money that nothing matters to you, you probably don't even care where like who's paying the bill and who's paying what. Because you're just like, I just want to be with someone I love. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you think the vibe is?
I know. I would think about this
because it's like
I
I feel like at some point you have so much money that you're like, I just want real love. Like I would.
You think that's why she tried the whole Pete Davidson thing?
I mean, I think when you have everything, like love is something that you can't buy. So to start saying like I want to find love and I also want to find someone who can match me monetarily when you're like a billionaire.
Also when you're a fucking boss babe, do you want somebody who's like is not making money at all?
I'm not saying she's going to be with someone who's not making money, but
well,
like
then what's
somebody who's just not making the amount of money that she's making.
I just think realistically her options of people she could date that are billionaires is not big. So she's going to have to either go in the M.
But even that, it's just like
it's two different worlds.
She's never going to find someone who's going to, like, not that she's never gonna, but it's like, it's going to be a lot more difficult. Think about already finding somebody that like you relate to.
I don't think she's looking for someone who's a billionaire like her. I think she's just looking for someone who could match her lifestyle. I don't think she can go and date Veronica, somebody who makes $80,000 a year.
I don't think so either. But I just think like at that point, I don't know if you care. Like I can imagine.
Still kind of care, no? I don't think it has to do with money. I think it's like at the root of it, she's still a lady who wants to be like pursued and like wants to be taken out. It's not about whether she can afford it or not. It's just feeling like a woman. Yeah. A lady.
But it's like
I don't know, but it's a good question.
It's like Miley Cyrus. I don't know if you ever watched the interview with Miley Cyrus and Call Her Daddy where she was talking about how like, you know, like she'll date people and like a lot of the times like she obviously makes a lot more money than them and like a lot of her relationships failed because like she was paying and this and that, but like she didn't give a fuck and like the people always cared more than she did. The people she was with. And I think that's interesting. It's like, I think that Kim would probably care less to pay for everything
than the person she's with.
I think it's the person who would care.
I think especially when you're going for like a guy who wants to feel in charge and stuff, it's like they kind of feel like a bit of a loser, even though they're not. Yeah. It's like,
but how... No one I feel like is gonna be able to keep up with that lifestyle. So it's like, yeah, babe, I got Nobu, but she's flying you on a private jet to Turks and Caicos. It's like you know what I mean? Like it's like you could try, but will you ever Will you ever match up? Like
so basically she needs to be with what, Elon Musk? That's her only option.
I'm just talking out there. Yeah. It's just like I like imagine Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker, okay? Kourtney Kardashian, I'm going to assume, makes more money than Travis Barker. Obviously, though, they have very similar lifestyles and they could kind of keep up. And, like, I'm sure that they do things together and, like, it works. But I can just think if I have so much money that, like, I have everything that I want. And, like, Kim strikes me as the kind of person now that she's just, like, looking for a genuine connection and looking for love. I can imagine that if she would meet someone that she just, like, really hit it off with, that she would never be like, he has to have, or like be able to like rival with my lifestyle.
I don't think so, no. I think she wants the little things now.
Yeah.
But I also think those little things she's looking for, it's also, we have to think of the other person too, the other person. How will they feel? Knowing they can't match up. It's difficult.
Yeah. And it's also like,
I think, look, when you have a lot of millions, it's kind of like the same thing. You could still kind of do the same things. There's only little things that kind of change at that point. So I don't think it's a big deal, but I also think that some men will, it'll be a bruise to the ego.
And then also if we think about the guys who are, much less than her, are they with her for the right reasons? Are they with her because it's like, I genuinely like her? Because guys, this is what's fucked up. Who wouldn't fall in love with Kim? I don't care what anyone would ever say. Oh, fuck the Kardashians. I don't give a fuck. Kim comes up to you tomorrow and says, hey, I think you're cute. Every single guy is saying, yes, please, here's my number. Like, no one would reject her. So it's like, no one would reject Kim.
Look, I think most people won't. I still think there's a small percentage that will, who don't want that attention.
Yeah.
I think there's a few
but
people.
I still think that those still do it for the story.
For majority of people, yes. But the people who won't do it for the story are the people who are private and don't want that, you know? But for example, Tom Brady, like, I'm going to be honest, I don't think Kim is the girl he's like striving to get. I think he's more into like more the model. Like, I think if he had to choose, he'd go more for like a Emrata, or like he's talking to Irina Shayk. Like, I feel like also even Tom Brady as a man having a lot of money, I feel like he'd rather go choose a fucking model, a bombshell model, who he's still above, still making more money than. That's why I think it's hard for Kim.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
It's very hard
because he can still be like more alpha with somebody who's making less and still hot.
So then who do you...
Because I think when everyone's famous, I don't think it's as big of a deal as, ooh, if I get Kim or if I get Emma.
Yeah.
You know?
I get it. But
who do we see with Kim? Who do we see with Chloe? First of all, Chloe's my favorite.
Yeah, I love Chloe.
She's so funny.
I don't know though.
I just want Chloe to not date a basketball player. And
or an athlete. I feel like she should just stay away from the athlete area.
She should just stay away from the athlete area and date, like, I don't know. What would you say?
I don't know. It's difficult with like, it's
because you also have to think about, they want probably somebody who's like divorced and like, or like had a kid before. For the most part, I feel like Kim's probably there. Like, it didn't work out with Pete. She said she's not on the same like level in life. So like, I would think that even Chloe would want somebody who probably like either is like divorced or like an older guy. I don't think she wants a young guy. I mean, I don't know, maybe.
It's tricky. It's like, even like just being an average person, like the more you age, the more your pool of people is going to get smaller and smaller. And then we put in fame into the mix. Then we put in money into the mix. Then we put in all these things that it's like, fuck man, like how big's your pool? Right now it's a bathtub. It's a sink. You know what I mean? Like, it must be so difficult.
Yeah.
And that's why I think sometimes that's why I think it's crazy that it's like you can have everything, and I'm sure at the end of the day they still would like really appreciate to just have like a real like genuine like relationship, especially Chloe, who had like such a bad and like bumpy relationship.
But I think it's the cost that comes with being a big boss babe.
Yeah,
it sounds fucked up to say, but like, I don't know.
I mean, I think it's the cost of anybody being in the spotlight.
I don't even think it's a spotlight thing. I think it's even like in general, like if you're a girl and you're making a lot of money, I think a lot of men will be intimidated by that. I think a lot of men would prefer to be with somebody who they were.
I think also a girl who's making a lot of money is probably not going to want to be with a guy who's not making a lot of money. I think for women, we like to be like, I think men are okay with dating under, but I think for women, like, and yes, there's going to be a lot that are like, I still just want a genuine connection. This is what the difficult thing is. This is what the difficult thing is a man who is making a lot of money is going to probably rather somebody he can take care of that's making less money. And the problem comes in when a boss babe is making a lot of money, she's also still trying to get that guy, but that guy she's trying to get is probably going for somebody he can just take care of. So that's where the imbalance is. Absolutely. But I still think that there's a lot of guys who are like successful that want a girl who's also, but it's just like, I feel like women, when they're very successful, they don't want to go down and be like but yeah, don't get me wrong, there is some people who like don't care and they just value connection. But I think a lot of the times, like a girl who's really grinding for herself is gonna be like, no, like I think I have the ability now to like also
choose what I want.
Like put my standards up and have a man who's like at least grinding as much as I am. So it's like tricky, and it's like you said, you know, those guys can just still go down and get anybody, right? Doesn't matter how much money they're making.
Whereas girls won't go and just get anybody.
It's tricky.
Whoa! Did we just
tricky?
Did we just like understand life?
But that's why I just find it like, can imagine it's scary to have a lot of attention.
Okay, so Kim, who would you see her with?
I think, like you said, like some no-name billionaire that doesn't exist.
That doesn't exist, because then you're talking like Elon Musk. You're talking.
That's not no name billionaire.
That's what I'm saying.
But
I think there is a lot of like really.
It's kind of like, oh my god,
there's
when
a
Rihanna
lot of
dated
rich people.
Remember
that,
when
like,
Rihanna dated that like Arab prince?
Yes,
that was like one that I was like, this makes sense. Like this just like billionaire, no one really knows who he is. Like
yeah, or we don't.
But then like, how do you even date Rihanna? Like that, I would be like. But her and A$AP Rocky make a good couple.
They're so cute.
That's why I think like when you're famous, you just have to go after someone who's famous. I feel like it helps a lot of battles, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, imagine not being, I don't know, it must be so difficult. And to know like your whole relationship is out there in the public eye is a whole nother. My thing, and this is kind of fucked up, but I always think like, okay, if I become famous one day, I find there's so few relationships that actually lasted in people that are in the media that I'm like, am I gonna have a relationship that's gonna last? Because I feel like a lot of them just end up moving apart, because that's what it is. That's what it is in when you're famous. Like there's so many. Already it's hard to have a relationship. In the spotlight, it's even harder. There's even bigger obstacles. And it just makes me think like, let's say I would become famous one day. Like, am I gonna end up not with somebody? Am I gonna end up like, it's like you see like people have babies, they get married, they divorce, everyone's always getting divorced, everyone's always leaving each other, everyone's always cheating. I'm just like, is there even a relationship that's lasted?
I think that's where you really have to look at like your values and stuff. I know I feel like you really have to find somebody who sees life the same. Even at that, it's difficult, because at that point you can be, and then afterwards you're just like,
it's just crazy. Like, I really want to know, like, if anybody can tell me of like a big couple that's like still together.
I just named a couple.
But like, yeah, I guess Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively is a good one.
I think the more you're like not in the public eye, the better your relationship is.
For sure.
It also has to do with kind of like, I feel like he'll do a movie and then he goes home and he goes straight to his wife. Like a lot of men don't do that when they're in the public eye. They're like looking for other validation and stuff. And that's what it's like. She cheated, allegations. Like it really depends your values and what you like want. Like Blake Lively did a whole speech talking about how Ryan Reynolds will literally go do his movie, and the most exciting part of his day is like going home and being with his family. And it's like, that's when like you realize that like their values are the same, and like, yeah, that's a relationship that's gonna last beyond everything, because they're choosing each other every day. It's not like they're like trying to get outside validation. They're not trying to be a Harry Jowsey, you know? Jowsey. It's way different.
I think it's different too, because when you're an actor, like you have a passion that I feel like is stronger than your want to be like to have attention. I think it comes naturally with being an actor. You know that if you're really good at your job, you're going to get a lot of attention. But I think when it comes to like influencers, like the whole drive is just to get attention. And that's why I think if you date someone like that's also in that space, it's like at the end of the day, you share this same need for attention that I feel like destroys a lot of relationships. Because when someone needs that validation and that attention all the time, like it ends up being like a bad thing a lot of the times. Because whether it's going to be like them chasing attention for someone else, or now the attention's not enough, and short, you know, like needing a lot of validation. There's so
they got
many,
a role, they didn't.
You know, there's
like,
so many tricky things I find when you're with someone who craves attention. Which anybody who's in the influencer space or something like wants that, because or else you wouldn't be in it, you know?
Would you ever notice like the people who are like in the influencer space and they're dating somebody who isn't, they always last
longer.
Yeah, or they're always together.
Yeah.
It's really like,
it depends.
Really
though.
look like look at like influencers who are dating people who like are not about the limelight. They're always together.
I think it's also about like where you are too. Like I think if you do the whole influencer route of move to LA, go into the same pool of people that everybody dated, and it's like that pool. Like I think if you start doing that, yeah. But I think there's a lot of like people who are on the spotlight but like live in like fucking Ohio and live their life normally, and like yeah, they make a living off of that, but like they never let it get to their head. I think that's where it really like
LA's the fuck up is what you're saying.
I think it is. I think it's just a different you get it's like we were saying about Harry, it's like you're in a different like mindset. Like you're not
like the things he probably thought
process.
were wrong, he doesn't think are so wrong
Anymore,
because of I think it's also like you're far away from your family, you forget your values. So when all that's going on, you don't feel like you're as bad of a person and you're doing these things to, like, for example, Georgia, you know?
Absolutely. And also there's people around you doing 10 times worse things. So does it, you get what I'm saying? Like, I think that's the vibe in LA is like, there's always someone doing something worse, doing something more cutthroat, that it's like, is what I'm doing even bad?
Yeah.
Even Kevin Hart, it's like he got canceled. It took him like years to get back to like where he was. He lost sponsorships. And like when sponsorships are like your life and like how you make money, it's a lot.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
know?
Yeah.
It really takes a toll.
Mm-hmm.
When networks drop you, when it's very difficult to get back and make a name for yourself again.
That's true. But they always come back around.
They always do. One way or another.
And they should. Everyone could learn, grow, and come back. But so Drake was saying how the girl Bobby, who's like blowing up right now, is interviewed him, and she asked Drake like, who's your type of person? And he's like, I don't know, who do you see me with? And she goes, I don't know, like Jennifer Lawrence. And like I feel like Jennifer Lawrence is like a bad bitch, you know? Like I feel like I could see that, but then he was very clear on like he doesn't want someone who's like famous or in like the limelight.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was saying how like he doesn't find celebrities or famous people interesting, and he would probably end up with somebody who is not famous.
Wow. You know what's funny is oh fuck, what was I gonna say?
But you know what though? The more I'm seeing Drake on my feed and like the speeches he gives at like concerts and stuff, he really still is, I feel like, one of the few who hasn't fully lost himself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it's a Canadian thing, but it's just like when he's talking on stage, it's like everyone could feel how real he is. Sometimes he says shit that doesn't even make sense, but like,
but I think it's also
like the time where he was saying the thing about like, you know, all you guys saved up your money to get my tickets and here I am drinking on stage. Like he's like, oh, he's so self-aware, and he just talks like, even when he was saying like, I came to Montreal was the first gig that like paid me, you know, like I still feel like he's very humble and he didn't lose himself with all the success he has. And I think that has to do with him keeping all his friends that were in his circle,
and
like by him not being like, I'm better than you, and like leaving and like kind of just like won with his friends and made everyone successful. I think that's why he's still so humble.
But that's like what I was saying before, is like when you stay kind of in your area, like he still like has a house in Toronto and like is in Toronto like a lot of the time. Like I think staying close to your family, staying close to your roots always keeps you grounded.
Yeah.
And I think it really shows on that type of person. But one thing that I find funny is I think it was in the interview with Bobby. He was like, you know, like I'm just like not ready. Like I can't give someone what they need right now for a relationship.
But like respect.
Yes, but I just want to say, like, I find it so funny when men who are like in their 40s are like, I'm not ready for a relationship. I'm like, bro, when are you guys? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, and it's not on Drake. It's just I hear this a lot with like just regular men who are like in their 40s, like 45.
Welcome to life, Veronica.
I know, but it's like you hear these like 45-year-olds like, I'm not ready for a committed relationship. I'm like, when are you gonna be ready, my friend?
They're like, I don't care. My sperm works at 65.
And that's the fucked up thing. But it's just so crazy to me that it's like, you're not ready. You're 45 years old. When are you gonna be ready? Like, at what point? I think if you're not ready at 45, then I don't know if you'll ever be ready. Honestly, I really don't think you'll ever be ready. Because, like, you're halfway through your life, my friend. Like, it's just funny to me. And it's like, it's funny hearing him say that.
But
it's
he
like
was even talking about, like, the whole marriage thing and how he doesn't believe in it. And, like, I can understand him being at his top tier level.
Sure.
Like,
why do you need it?
Yeah.
Why do you need it? But that's what I'm saying. It's like you can have everything in the world, the success, the fame and whatever, and you can still be like, I can't give someone what they need, you know? And I think it's even more so because you're so focused on yourself.
I honestly think it's the vicious circle of like life being a game. Like we're all right now in a game. And I think money is like the cheese of the game. Like the more you play the game, the harder it is for you to stop wanting the cheese.
Yeah.
It's like the mouse trap. Like you're, and like him with so much cheese, he's always going to be wanting more and more and more. And that's just the thing with successful people. It's never going to be enough.
Yeah.
So it's like we're living in a game, really.
But isn't that scary to
that
think
is so scary.
You're never going to be satisfied?
So scary, but also the reason you're successful, right?
Yeah. But then it's like, that's why sometimes you
scary.
look at like the average person who isn't like doing that. And yeah, maybe they don't have all the money and the things.
Yeah, they're
but, like,
probably happier.
You know, it's crazy. It's crazy to think like you spend all this time chasing, all for what? Are you happy in the end? Or are you not with someone you love? Not, you know, I don't know. I just think it's like an interesting, like,
I know.
We live in an interesting like generation of like, not generation. I just think we live in an interesting society where it's all focused around money, but yet the thing people want most is also love. But then we focus so hard on making money to find love to the point where when we make all the money, we don't even want love anymore.
No, we can't find it.
We can't find it. Or like we're so focused on making money that we can't even think about having love right now. And then when we do want it, it's too late. And it's just very...
I think that's why when they say the old way just worked better in the sense where like men worked and women were more like submissive. I'm not saying that that's the right way. And I think, no, we're in a different world. But I think that that's probably why life worked better and love was found and there was a lot more genuine relationships.
I also think divorce was illegal. But
here we go. Okay, guys, this is a great episode. This was a beautiful episode.
Anyways, guys, see you next week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below, and check out our site, ChemicalXPodcast.com.
We love ya. Okay.